Welcome to another extended edition of the I-24 News Desk. I'm Batya Leventhal, coming to you live from our Tel Aviv studios with the top stories making news at this hour. We start with the awarding today being Friday of the famed Nobel Peace Prize. Narges Mohammadi, a jailed Iranian human rights activist, has been crowned the winner. The head of the Nobel Committee lauded Mohammadi's fight against the oppression of women in the country, saying she was indeed a freedom fighter. The award comes after more than a year of protests in Iran, spearheaded by a woman over the strict dress code enforced by the Iranian regime's interpretation of Sharia law. The activist is currently serving a lengthy sentence in Tehran's notorious Evin prison. The committee added that it hoped Iran would release her soon, while Mohammadi's family said the award was historic and a profound moment, sending a very strong signal of disapproval to the Iranian authorities.
I'm very, very proud of my mom. That this award here, she deserves it. It's due to the work she puts in practically half of her life. And this prize is not just for my mother, it's for women, life and freedom. So it's even greater, and I can please my mother even more.
Well, let's cross now live to Oslo in Norway, where I'm joined by Henrik Urdal, the director of the Peace Research Institute in Oslo. Good evening to you, and thank you for joining me. Your annual projections about possible prize winners are always closely watched, even though you have no inside information. Have you guessed since the dual winners in 2018 and the winner in 2019, and what would have your predictions have been for this year's winner?
Well, actually, I did have Narges Mohammadi on top of my list this year. We've been pointing to human rights broadly and also women's rights specifically this year as an obvious topic for the Peace Prize, and Narges Mohammadi was our top candidate. So I'm very happy that she was getting the prize, and I also think it's a very well crafted prize. I think it is an important prize, and I'm very happy with the way that things turn out.
What do you make of critics' comments over the years that the Nobel Awards, especially the Peace Prize, has become highly politicized? Some hold that people like Narges and Russia's Dmitry Muratov, as important as their work is, should not be put in the same category as South Africa's Nelson Mandela or even Israel's Yitzhak Rabin, for example.
It's a good point. I think the Nobel Peace Prize is fundamentally political. It is a prize for political contributions, and those have been defined as contributing to disarmament matters, to peace processes, but also extend to the area of human rights and fundamental work for democracy, for instance. So there's a long tradition for that within the prize, and I can understand that this is rubbing some regimes and some people the wrong way. But this is fundamentally what the Peace Prize is about.
And speaking of which, you mentioned that this is fundamentally what the Peace Prize is about, but many people were actually on the par to believe that perhaps Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky could have been at least one of the nominees, let alone the winner of such a prize. Why would you say that would not be the case?
Oh, it was quite clear that Zelensky could not get a prize this year. He is in the middle of an interstate war, and it's going to be difficult for the Peace Prize Committee to award the Peace Prize to a head of state who's at war, even if the war is just in a sense of Ukraine defending itself from Russian aggression. But you cannot give the Peace Prize to someone who's at war at the level of Ukraine today.
And speaking of giving the Peace Prize, Narges is currently serving a 10-year jail sentence in Iran. How likely is it that the activist will actually be able to pick up her prize during the award ceremony in December?
I very much hope that this prize is going to put pressure on the Iranian regime, both to release Narges Mohammadi in time for her to come to Oslo, but also to make real changes in Iran and allow people basic human rights. But I'm not too optimistic about her ability to come to Oslo. I think her empty chair then will send a very strong signal that Iran is jailing their human rights fighters, and that's, of course, also a very strong signal to send.
As you mentioned, very political in the very essence of the Peace Award. Henrik Urdal, the director of the Peace Research Institute in Oslo, thank you very much for your time and analysis.
Thank you for having me.